the submerged victory in the vast expanse of the ocean, where the horizon met the endless blue. There sailed a ship like no other, the Valiant. This formidable vessel was not just a symbol of maritime power. It was a testament to the indomitable spirit of its crew and their unwavering commitment to defending their nation's values. Captain James Harrington commanded the Valiant with unparalleled skill and leadership. His crew, a handpicked team of the finest sailors and officers, were not just sailors. They were super soldiers trained for the most challenging missions on the high seas. One fateful day, as the Valiant sailed through treacherous waters, it encountered a situation that would test their mettle like never before. A distress call had come in from a nearby ally, reporting that a formidable enemy fleet was closing in on their position. The Valiant was their only hope for salvation. Captain Harrington wasted no time. He ordered the crew into battle stations and prepared for what would undoubtedly be a fierce confrontation. As the Valiant navigated through dense fog, the silhouettes of 8 massive enemy ships loomed in the distance. The Valiant's advanced sonar systems detected unusual underwater activity, a sign that the enemy had deployed their secret weapon, the deadliest torpedoes ever known to naval warfare. These torpedoes were faster, smarter, and deadlier than anything the Valiant had faced before. As the Valiant's crew braced for impact, a deafening explosion rocked the ship. The first enemy torpedo had struck its mark, causing extensive damage to the ship's hull. Water gushed in, and it was clear that the Valiant was sinking. Captain Harrington's voice echoed through the ship's intercom, rallying his crew with words of determination. In the face of certain doom, they donned their diving suits and aqualungs. The crew was prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice to protect their nation and their allies. But as the Valiant descended into the depths of the ocean, a remarkable transformation took place. The crew, now submerged and hidden from the enemy's view, executed a daring plan that would turn the tide of the battle. The super soldiers of the Valiant, armed with specially designed underwater weaponry, swam stealthily towards the nearest enemy vessel. In the eerie silence beneath the waves, they reached their target undetected. With precision and speed, they latched onto the enemy ship's hull, securing themselves in the shadows. The Valiant's crew had become ghost-like phantoms, ready to strike when the moment was right. As the enemy ships closed in on the Valiant's last known position, they were perplexed by what they saw. Their own vessels, under attack, were being struck by an unknown assailant. Panic spread among the enemy ranks as they realized the Valiant's crew had turned the tables. The super soldiers of the Valiant unleashed a torrent of underwater firepower, crippling the enemy fleet one ship at a time. The enemy's confusion and desperation grew as they faced a relentless and invisible adversary. It was a battle unlike any other, fought in the depths of the ocean, where the rules of engagement had been rewritten. The Valiant's crew had outsmarted and outmaneuvered their adversaries, proving that even in the darkest hours, courage, innovation, and teamwork could lead to victory. As the battle raged on beneath the waves, the enemy's fleet crumbled. Their once mighty ships now lay broken and defeated on the ocean floor. The Valiant's crew emerged victorious, their mission accomplished. When the enemy finally understood the truth that they had been defeated by their own vessels, hijacked by the Valiant's super soldiers, it was too late. The entire enemy armada had been neutralized. The Valiant's crew returned to the surface, greeted by the cheers of their allies and the gratitude of a nation saved from impending disaster. Captain Harrington and his team had not only defended their nation's values, but had also showcased the power of innovation, adaptability, and heroism in the face of adversity. The moral of the story is clear. In the darkest of moments, when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges, the human spirit can rise to the occasion. Courage, innovation, and teamwork can turn the tide of battle. And even in the depths of despair, victory is possible. The Valiant and its super soldiers had shown the world that heroes come in all forms, even beneath the waves. The triumph of courage in the wake of their stunning victory against a formidable enemy fleet, the crew of the Valiant found themselves hailed as national heroes. Their extraordinary bravery and ingenuity had not only saved their nation and its allies, but had also reshaped the future of naval warfare. As the Valiant sailed back to its home port, Captain James Harrington addressed his crew with words of immense pride and gratitude. He spoke of their unwavering resolve and the incredible triumph they had achieved. The crew had not only demonstrated their commitment to duty, but had also showcased the power of innovation and teamwork. News of the Valiant's miraculous victory spread like wildfire across the nation. It became a symbol of hope and inspiration during a time when the world seemed on the brink of chaos. People marveled at the audacity of the super soldiers who had transformed their own sinking vessel into an underwater fortress. The Valiant's crew, now celebrated as national icons, received a hero's welcome upon their return. Crowds lined the harbor, waving flags and cheering as the mighty warship entered the port. The crew members, once unsung heroes, now found themselves thrust into the spotlight, their faces gracing the front pages of newspapers and magazines. Captain Harrington and his crew were invited to the White House, where the President of the United States bestowed upon them the highest honors a grateful nation could offer. The crew members received medals of valor, and Captain Harrington was awarded the prestigious Medal of Honor for his exceptional leadership. In the weeks that followed, the US Valiant underwent extensive repairs and upgrades. Its battle-hardened crew remained together, eager to face new challenges on the high seas. Their mission was far from over, and they were determined to continue protecting their nation and allies. The Valiant's incredible success had not gone unnoticed by other naval powers. Admirals and military strategists around the world were captivated by the audacious tactics employed by the super soldiers. The concept of underwater warfare had been forever changed. International summits were convened to discuss the implications of the Valiant's victory on naval doctrines and strategies. It was a time of rapid advancements in naval technology, as nations sought to emulate the Valiant's success. The once secret underwater weaponry developed by the Valiant's crew became highly sought after. Captain Harrington, now a respected figure in the world of naval warfare, was invited to share his insights and expertise at these gatherings. He emphasized the importance of adaptability, innovation, and the unbreakable bond among his crew. He urged his counterparts from other nations to prioritize cooperation and unity. The Valiant's crew continued their service with unwavering dedication. They embarked on new missions, each more challenging than the last, and forged an even stronger sense of camaraderie. They became living legends, a symbol of what could be achieved when courageous individuals banded together for a common cause. The legacy of the US Valiant endured for generations. The ship itself was preserved as a museum, allowing visitors to step into the shoes of those brave super soldiers and experience their incredible journey. School children across the nation learned about their heroism and the enduring values of courage and teamwork. In the annals of naval history, the US Valiant and its crew remained a shining beacon of hope and inspiration. Their remarkable tales served as a reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, the human spirit could rise to the occasion and achieve the extraordinary. The moral of the story is a testament to the power of unity, innovation, and unwavering courage. It teaches us that heroes are not born but forged in the crucible of adversity. The US Valiant and its super soldiers proved that with determination and cooperation, any challenge can be overcome, and victory can be achieved against all odds. Their story will forever inspire generations to come, reminding us that the human spirit knows no bounds when driven by a noble cause.
We've destroyed an enemy cruiser.
Our victory is in sight.
Enemy cruiser foundered. We've destroyed an enemy cruiser.
Enemy force sighted on the horizon. Enemy cruiser sighted.
in sight.
force sighted on the horizon. Enemy cruiser sighted. Enemy destroyer sighted. Enemy battleship detected. Enemy cruiser detected. Enemy destroyer detected.
Certainly, here's the continuation of the story. Lieutenant Anderson examined the captured ship and discovered something unusual. In the captain's quarters, he found secret documents that revealed the enemy's plan. It became clear that the enemy had infiltrated their own ranks with disguised soldiers. These infiltrators had been strategically placed on each ship, waiting for the right moment to strike. It was a clever and devious tactic aimed at causing confusion and chaos in the Allied fleet. Anderson quickly realized that the situation was even more dire than they had initially thought. The enemy had not only tried to sink their ships, but had also planned to sabotage their communication and coordination. This explained the bizarre behavior of the disguised soldiers attacking their own comrades. They were attempting to disable the Allied fleet from within. With the newly acquired information, Anderson and his team developed a counter-strategy. They began sending encrypted messages to their allies, exposing the infiltrators and instructing them on how to identify and neutralize the disguised soldiers on their respective ships. As the sun began to set, the battle continued to rage on the open sea. The element of surprise had shifted in favor of the Allied fleet as they started identifying and apprehending the infiltrators. The disguised soldiers put up a fierce fight, realizing that their plan had been compromised. Despite the chaos, Anderson's leadership and the soldiers' determination prevailed. They managed to secure the captured enemy ship and eliminate the infiltrators. The remaining enemy vessels, now confused and demoralized, attempted to retreat, but the Allied fleet pursued them relentlessly. Hours turned into days as the battle raged on. The once confident enemy found themselves outmaneuvered and outmatched. The super soldiers, led by Lieutenant Anderson, demonstrated incredible bravery and resourcefulness. They utilized the advanced weaponry of the captured ship, which included the super universal torpedoes, to devastating effect. The message from this epic battle was clear: teamwork, strategy, and unwavering determination could overcome even the most cunning of adversaries. The Allies had not only defended their fleet, but had also uncovered a dangerous enemy plot. As the last of the enemy ships surrendered, Lieutenant Anderson reflected on the events of the past days. He understood that true heroes were not only those who fought valiantly on the battlefield, but also those who could adapt and overcome unexpected challenges. It was a lesson in resilience, resourcefulness, and the indomitable human spirit. The news of this extraordinary battle spread far and wide, becoming a legendary tale of valor and cunning in the annals of naval history. And as for Lieutenant Anderson and his super soldiers, they continued to serve as a shining example of courage and heroism, ready to face any challenge that lay ahead. The Battle of the Seas had taken a toll on everyone involved. The Allied fleet had emerged victorious, but not without sacrifices. As the days turned into weeks, Lieutenant Anderson and his super soldiers worked tirelessly to repair their ships and tend to the wounded. The captured enemy ship, which had once been a symbol of treachery, was now a valuable asset. The advanced weaponry on the captured ship, especially the super universal torpedoes, fascinated the Allied engineers. They carefully dissected the torpedoes to understand their mechanics, hoping to replicate this groundbreaking technology. It was a daunting task, as the technology was far ahead of anything they had encountered before. Lieutenant Anderson knew that time was of the essence. The enemy, while defeated, was not to be underestimated. They had shown cunning and ruthlessness, and it was only a matter of time before they regrouped and came up with a new strategy. Anderson held a meeting with his fellow officers to discuss their next move. They decided to send out reconnaissance ships to gather intelligence on the enemy's movements and plans. The super soldiers, along with the skilled engineers, would continue their work on understanding and replicating the torpedoes. The weeks turned into months, and the Allied fleet remained on high alert. It was during this time that Lieutenant Anderson received an unexpected visitor. Admiral Blackwood, the highest-ranking officer in the fleet, requested a private meeting with Anderson. In the dimly lit cabin of the flagship, Admiral Blackwood shared a piece of classified information. He revealed that there was a spy within their midst, leaking critical information to the enemy. The spy had been responsible for the infiltration of disguised soldiers during the Battle of the Seas. Anderson was taken aback by this revelation. Trust was paramount in their line of work, and the thought of a traitor among them was deeply unsettling. He knew that they had to act swiftly to root out the spy and prevent further damage. The investigation was discreetly launched, with only a handful of trusted officers aware of its existence. Suspicions ran high as they closely monitored the actions and communications of everyone on board. Each member of the fleet was scrutinized, including the super soldiers who had become legendary heroes. As the investigation progressed, tensions aboard the fleet grew. Paranoia and mistrust festered, threatening to disrupt the cohesion they had worked so hard to maintain. Anderson, burdened by the weight of responsibility, found himself facing one of his greatest challenges yet. Then, one fateful night, a breakthrough occurred. A coded message sent to the enemy was intercepted. It contained valuable information about the Allied fleet's position and vulnerabilities. The investigation led them to an unexpected culprit, a junior officer who had managed to evade suspicion for so long. The traitor was swiftly apprehended and brought before a tribunal. His motives were complex, a combination of greed, desperation, and misguided loyalty. He had been blackmailed by the enemy and had believed that he could protect his family by betraying his comrades. The tribunal deliberated over his fate. Some argued for a harsh punishment, while others advocated for clemency, considering his difficult circumstances. In the end, a compromise was reached. The traitor would be stripped of his rank and imprisoned for life, but his family would receive protection and support from the Allied forces. With the spy unmasked and dealt with, a sense of relief washed over the fleet. Trust was gradually rebuilt, and the focus returned to their mission, understanding the enemy's advanced technology and preparing for the inevitable confrontation. Months turned into a year, and the Allied engineers made significant progress in deciphering the super-universal torpedoes. They managed to replicate the technology, albeit on a smaller scale. The fleet now had its own formidable arsenal of torpedoes, which gave them a newfound confidence. Then, one fateful day, the reconnaissance ships returned with alarming news. The enemy had regrouped, and their fleet had grown stronger. They were preparing for a massive assault, determined to avenge their previous defeat. The Allied fleet prepared for what would be the decisive battle. Lieutenant Anderson and his super soldiers stood at the forefront, armed with their newly acquired torpedoes. The fate of the seas hung in the balance as the two mighty fleets converged for a showdown that would echo through history. The Battle of Redemption, as it would come to be known, was a fierce and relentless clash of titans. The enemy, unaware of the Allied fleet's newfound weaponry, initially had the upper hand. But when the Allied torpedoes were unleashed, the tides of battle shifted once more. Explosions rocked the ocean as the super-universal torpedoes found their targets with deadly accuracy. The enemy fleet, caught off guard, struggled to mount an effective defense. They had not anticipated facing their own technology turned against them. In the midst of the chaos, Lieutenant Anderson and his super soldiers displayed incredible bravery. They boarded enemy ships, engaging in close combat and turning the tide of individual battles. Their heroism and determination inspired their comrades to fight with unwavering resolve. As the sun set on the horizon, the Battle of Redemption reached its climax. The enemy's fleet lay in ruins, and the seas were littered with wreckage. Victory belonged to the Allied forces, but it came at a heavy cost. The tale of the Battle of Redemption would be told for generations to come. It was a story of resilience, sacrifice, and the triumph of unity over treachery. Lieutenant Anderson and his super soldiers had once again proven that heroes could emerge from the darkest of times. As the Allied fleet sailed toward the setting sun, they knew that their mission was far from over. There would always be new challenges on the horizon, but they faced the future with renewed determination and an unbreakable bond forged through the crucible of battle. The Battle of Redemption marked a turning point in the conflict. With the enemy fleet devastated and their advanced torpedoes now in the hands of the Allies, a fragile peace settled over the seas. It was a peace born out of exhaustion and a shared realization that the cycle of violence had to be broken. Lieutenant Anderson and his super soldiers were hailed as heroes once again. Their valor and unwavering dedication had saved the Allied fleet from certain destruction. However, they remained humble, knowing that true heroism lay not in the glory of battle but in the pursuit of lasting peace. In the aftermath of the battle, the captured enemy soldiers were treated with dignity and compassion. It was a gesture meant to convey the Allies' commitment to a different future, one where cooperation and understanding replace hostility and mistrust. The Allies reached out to the enemy, proposing negotiations for a formal peace treaty. It was a challenging process, filled with tense moments and disagreements. But Lieutenant Anderson, who had witnessed the horrors of war firsthand, was a vocal advocate for peace. Months of negotiations finally bore fruit, and the Treaty of Redemption was signed. It established clear boundaries and protocols for naval conflicts, with an emphasis on diplomatic resolution over warfare. The super-universal torpedoes were to be dismantled, ensuring that no single side possessed such destructive power. The signing of the treaty was a momentous occasion. Leaders from both sides, along with diplomats and observers from neutral nations, gathered on a neutral island to put their signatures on the document. Lieutenant Anderson was there as a witness, a symbol of the alliance's commitment to a better future. The peace that followed was not without its challenges. Old animosities died hard, and there were those on both sides who resisted change. But the determination to avoid another devastating conflict prevailed, and gradually, trust began to replace suspicion. Lieutenant Anderson and his super soldiers were instrumental in building bridges between the former enemies. They conducted joint training exercises, demonstrating the effectiveness of their combined forces. These actions showcased the potential for cooperation in times of crisis. As the years passed, the seas became safer for all who sailed upon them. Piracy, which had once plagued the waters, dwindled as the naval powers cooperated to eliminate the threat. Trade flourished, and the islands and coastal towns experienced unprecedented prosperity. Lieutenant Anderson eventually retired from active duty, but his legacy lived on. He became an advocate for peace, traveling the world to speak about the futility of war and the importance of diplomacy. His words resonated with people from all walks of life, and he was celebrated as a true peacemaker. The super soldiers, once feared as unstoppable warriors, found new purpose in a world yearning for protection. They became ambassadors of peace, working to diffuse conflicts and prevent violence wherever they went. Their very presence was a reminder that even the most powerful could choose a path of harmony. In the decades that followed, the lessons of the Battle of Redemption continued to shape the world. The nations invested in education, promoting a culture of understanding and tolerance. Diplomacy and dialogue became the preferred methods of resolving disputes, and the world saw an era of unprecedented cooperation and progress. The super-universal torpedoes, once symbols of destruction, were transformed into symbols of hope. Their dismantling had sent a powerful message that humanity had the capacity to restrain its own destructive tendencies. A museum was built to house these relics of the past, a reminder of the price of peace and the importance of unity. The story of Lieutenant Anderson and his super soldiers became a legend, passed down through the generations. It served as a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of individuals to change the course of history, and it reminded the world that even in the darkest of times, the light of peace could prevail. As the world moved forward, it did so with the knowledge that the lessons of the past must never be forgotten. The Battle of Redemption had taught them that war could only lead to suffering, but peace, forged through understanding and cooperation, could create a brighter future for all. And so, the world sailed into the future, guided by the principles of peace, unity, and the enduring legacy of heroes who had chosen the path of redemption. With the Treaty of Redemption firmly in place, the world began its slow journey towards lasting peace. The lessons learned from the Battle of Redemption were not forgotten, and nations now placed diplomacy and cooperation at the forefront of their foreign policies. The once feared super-universal torpedoes were systematically dismantled, their components repurposed for more constructive uses, such as advancing renewable energy technologies and improving global communication systems. Lieutenant Anderson had retired from active duty, but his mission for peace continued unabated. He became an ambassador, traveling to different countries to share his experiences and the importance of reconciliation. His speeches resonated with people worldwide, and he received numerous awards for his role in ending the destructive conflict. He often recounted the events of that fateful battle, emphasizing the need for unity in the face of adversity. The super soldiers, whose valor had saved the world, found new roles as educators and peacekeepers. They shared their combat expertise to train future generations of soldiers, focusing not only on combat skills, but also on the importance of diplomacy and conflict resolution. Their presence in conflict zones helped prevent violence, and their reputation as peacemakers grew. As the years passed, nations formed stronger alliances, realizing that cooperation was the key to safeguarding their collective future. The naval powers, once bitter enemies, became staunch allies, collaborating on environmental initiatives to protect the world's oceans and sharing resources for the common good. The world was finally experiencing a period of unparalleled stability and prosperity. Technological advancements flourished in this era of peace, with resources previously allocated for warfare redirected towards scientific research and innovation. Breakthroughs in medicine, energy, and space exploration became commonplace. Humanity set its sights on the stars, launching missions to explore distant planets and establish colonies on other celestial bodies. But peace did not mean the absence of challenges. The threat of natural disasters, climate change, and global pandemics required global cooperation and coordination. Nations came together to form international organizations dedicated to addressing these issues collectively. The lessons learned from the Battle of Redemption, where unity had triumphed over division, continued to shape the world's response to crises. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Anderson's legacy persisted, inspiring generations of leaders and diplomats. His memoirs became required reading in schools worldwide, and his name was synonymous with the pursuit of peace. The anniversary of the Battle of Redemption became an international day of reflection, a reminder of humanity's capacity for both destruction and redemption. One of the most profound changes was in the realm of education. Schools emphasized conflict resolution, cultural exchange, and the importance of diversity. The curriculum included lessons about the Battle of Redemption and the heroes who had chosen the path of peace. Children grew up with the belief that differences should be celebrated, not feared, and that dialogue was the most powerful tool for resolving disputes. As technology continued to advance, virtual reality allowed people to experience historical events firsthand. The Battle of Redemption was recreated in virtual classrooms, enabling students to step into the shoes of those who had fought on both sides. It was a visceral reminder of the horrors of war and the resilience of the human spirit. Generations of diplomats and leaders followed in Lieutenant Anderson's footsteps, committed to the principles of peace, cooperation, and reconciliation. International conflicts were resolved through dialogue and negotiation, with nations working together to find common ground. The world was no longer defined by alliances and rivalries, but by a shared commitment to a brighter future. In the spirit of unity, nations embarked on ambitious projects to address global challenges. They launched missions to reverse the effects of climate change, developed advanced healthcare systems accessible to all, and eradicated poverty and hunger. The world had finally recognized that working together was the only way to overcome the most pressing issues of our time. The Battle of Redemption had set humanity on a new course, one that prioritized peace and cooperation above all else. It had taught the world that even in the darkest of times, there was a path to redemption, a path that could lead to a better world for all. And as the years turned into centuries, the legacy of that historic battle continued to shine as a beacon of hope, guiding humanity towards a future filled with promise and prosperity.